Great. I think I'm live.
You are live.
Cool. I'm gonna give folks a couple minutes to jump in. All right. Hello. Aterius. That's a very funny name. All right. Let's get started. We're just gonna wait a couple minutes. Let folks jump in. Yep, we're gonna be playing some Marlin today. This is probably the most popularly requested deck I play. Yeah, I feel like Marlin's still got some issues, but we're gonna try to figure them out together. Oh yeah, Marlin brewing is definitely going to be going on here. I actually don't know if this list is much different than the normal list I run, but I've had a lot of pretty decent success with this list. Just feels really consistent, comfortable for me. But yeah, Marlin is a ton of fun. If you get the chance to play her, she is a ton of fun. I think she like needs like maybe one or two more cards for her to be like super competitively viable. Like a lot of the stuff that she does, like kind of the assassins just do better a lot of the time. But yeah, we'll kind of talk about that in a bit. Tegan, can you hand me a cat?
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah, sure. All right, probably gonna get started in like 2 minutes here, but I wanted to just get some cat time
I
in.
don't really want attention. They were both very good.
They're both just sitting in the window.
They're both sitting in the. I guess I'll give you the brown one.
Give me the brown one.
Gross.
Give me that gross, buddy. Give me that cat.
He is gross. He's the cat we hate the most.
We got the gross cat. I don't know if everyone can see him. Yeah, Levia, Ira, and Puffin, I feel like all similarly have a Marlin problem. Or like a similar problem to Marlin, right? Where they kind of just feel like other decks do a similar thing but better. But yeah, you probably do have your hands full of Levia, Ira, and Puffin. Those decks also need quite a bit of help. All right, we'll get started in a second here. I'm just gonna enjoy a little bit of cat time. For those of you who don't know, this is Philip. Say hi, Philip. Oh, he's squirming. All right, he wants to go down probably. Yep, but Philip's one of our cats. The other cat's sitting by the window. All right. Well, we can probably go ahead and get started now that we've... Hello, Philip. Philip also says hi back. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to be playing some Marlin today. Marlin, I think, is at this point kind of more my pet deck than anything. I think Jarl is like my main kind of like go-to competitive hero, but I have actually been working like a decent amount on this specific Marlin list. So we'll kind of get into it. So we are kind of doing a kind of more of like a switch variant between. I don't really like the kind of like mono cross strat, or at least it's not very comfortable with me. So basically, this deck is kind of like a hybrid between the Dominion as well as the cross trap as well. So I think you kind of have to like sideboard them in and out depending on the matchup and depending on the play draw. Like I think that if you go first a lot of time, you want to be on cross trap. If you go second a lot of time, you probably want to be in Dominion for some matchups. It kind of depends. Pretty big deal. To go over, I guess, like the main deck doesn't really change too much between lists, but like I think like the spiciest card here is maybe like Sleep Dart, but I think a lot of people have actually come around on blue Sleep Dart just as like a pretty decent like 1-for-3 blue that you can like arsenal and then just like give it go again off your boots and stuff. I think the sideboard is where this list kind of gets more interesting, so we'll kind of touch on it a little bit. So I tend to like I tend to keep both my harpoons in the arsenal, so or in my inventory rather. I guess also my arsenal as well, but I tend to like not run King Kraken in a lot of matchups. King Shark I run, I feel like most of the time. Like you probably consider this main deck, but there's probably like a matchup that exists where you probably don't born in King Shark, like mostly against like warriors and stuff like that. I think that Big Game Trophy Shot and Golden Tip are also kind of like, I feel like Big Game Trophy Shot comes in a lot more often than not, just because it's like a pretty decent powerhouse. But the one problem with Big Game Trophy Shot is it does kind of like rely on you keeping a lot of cards in hand. So I think in some matchups that are a little bit more disruptive, I tend to board these out a little bit. And then Drop the Anchors are specifically for Gravy. We'll try to see if we can play against some Gravy today, because I think that this card has been an overperformer in the Gravy. I'm kind of more of a believer in the like aggro race strat in the Gravy, where you try to like clear an ally with like a Golden Tipple or like a Murderous Rabble, and then you just like go face with the rest of your damage. So like clear an ally, go face, clear an ally, go face. That's kind of like the play pattern that I like the most. There are some people who are believers in the Endless Arrow strat, where you basically just try to like block everything that Gravy's doing, just send an Endless Arrow like every single turn until like they run out of allies. I think that strat works against some Gravies, but I feel like the better Gravies have kind of like caught on to that strat, so I don't know if that's like super viable. But the Drop the Anchors I think are mostly for Gravy, but you can also just like bring this in as like a 0 for 3, which is quite interesting. Like basically just 0 for 3 blank text. In some matchups, that's sometimes a lot better than just running like Conqueror of the High Seas, like into like very defensive decks. Like Conqueror gets substantially worse, stuff like that. And then Golden Tipples are specifically for matchups where we want to be running Dominion, or like just in general, any like situation where we want to be running Crown and Dominion. I tend to also bring Golden Tipple on the board. Not always, but like most of the time. I think that the card is very solid going second. Just like if you can like block out with your full hand going second, and then just like draw into a Tipple, play the Tipple off gold, and then like load, it's very good. I think that's like the most of the spicy cards. Target Traps are mainly for Assassin. This card has been kind of like an all-star overperformer, at least for me. Very good into Syndra, Slippy. I think what else? Katsu was pretty good as well. If you just name like Be Like Water, like if you just play this on like a Be Like Water or something, and then like your opponent has to like empowerment their Be Like Water, and then just force through like a blank on hit, it's pretty nice. Like this card actually stuffs a ton of like disruption. Very solid card right now. And then the one singular meme card for this deck is Imperial Seal of Command. I've not yet gotten this to work on camera. I'm hoping that maybe today is the day that Imperial Seal of Command will do something, but this most of the time is just like the 80th card that like I couldn't think of to put in. Like I think if anything, like if you're trying to like take this list and like probably go to like a real event or like a tournament or something, you probably take this card and you like turn it either into like a portside exchange, or you turn it in like a Conqueror of the High Seas. Probably I'd rather like turn it into a blue more than anything, just because I think that the blue count's like a little light. Like going to 34 seems quite nice, but other than that, that's pretty much the list we're going to be playing for today. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, let me know, but we'll go ahead and try to fire up a game here in a second. So these are just my initial thoughts on the list. I guess one other card we can talk about is Bolton Shot. Bolton Shot, I think, takes the place for me over Pathing Helix. I've seen Pathing Helix in a lot of like early Marlin lists, but Bolton Shot has like a lot of added kind of like upside if you can like play Pump, play Bolton Shot, and then just like swing in for like 5 reload, for 5 on hit reload. That's like pretty threatening. So your opponent might be incentivized to like give you cards on this, and then you like Reoak, draw into another arrow, and then they have to like give you more cards. It's actually like quite solid. I think that the reload ability on this is quite nice, but most of the time I think this is like just a blue 0 for 2 like block card basically. All right, I think we probably have enough people in. Let's go ahead and just go get into some games. We're also going to be having a very fun stream coming up. Let me make sure this is public. Yeah, that looks good. We're going to be having a pretty fun stream coming up this Friday. I'm not going to spoil it, but we have a very special guest who's coming, so that'll be pretty sick. And we're also going to be doing, I think, a little giveaway as well. This will be like a sponsored giveaway too, so you know, significantly better than giving away the promo, or not the promo Betsy, the Marvel Betsy. Yeah, we still need to play some more Betsy. I need to find an excuse. All right, playing against a Bravo. I don't think this is actually that bad for us, so they're going to put us on first. We want cross wrap. I'm going to mainly sideboard here. just so that I'm like thinking about it a little bit more. So Tarpet Trap is useless. We're going first, so Tipple's also useless. Big Game Trophy Shot seems good. Definitely want the gold to tips. Riches. Okay, seems like they maybe grew a little bit impatient. Let's maybe try to pre-sideboard a little bit. Yeah, we'll see if we can get another game here, or someone can stream snipe me. Either or. I'll welcome my first stream sniper. Playing against a Teklo. Oh, that's a good way to start the stream. Alright, they're gonna go first, which means we probably want Dominion in this matchup. Give them good luck, have fun. King Shark and King Kraken both seem good, assuming this is not just like the Teklovossen that's playing like every single piece of equipment. We'll do gold to tips. Big Game Trophy Shot seems good. Riches seems good. And we are going second, so the tipples get a little bit better. We could also just fat deck a little bit. We could also bring in the Imperial Seal Command as a little bit of fun. I'm okay with having, I think, a little bit of fun here. I think I'm bringing in the King Sharks because Teklo normally does run some number of attack cards. Alright, starting up with the processor, it looks like. Ooh, blue gravekeeping as well is quite nice. Alright, Evo Steel Soul Processor. Sure. So I think we're going to take the opportunity to get some filtering off the Quiver here, and if we get a free load, we're also in pretty good shape. I plus Quiver is quite nice. Alright, so we have a take game and a gold to tip. So option one is we bottom both of these. Option two is we take game, load Bluefin next turn, and then we just have to send it, which is not very exciting. Part of me just wants to like double bottom here and just see what we hit off the Quiver, and then if we don't hit anything, that's like kind of fine. Maybe we're actually supposed to like keep the take game and just like over filter a little bit. I think that's also a consideration. Let's go ahead and bottom. I think we're just double bottoming. If we hit something random, then that's good. We had a premeditate. I think we're just going to filter a little bit more of our hand. So I think we maybe just try to like max, or sorry, we probably shouldn't have passed there. As full filter like one more time. So I think we should actually get rid of all of our cards just to try to draw towards our power cards, and we also set up a stack. That's at least my consideration. So we double bottomed. We maybe wanted to hold on to. We maybe wanted to hold on to the take game, but this still like works out pretty fine. So now we have pre-med plus a 3-oak, and then we also have just a random harpoon descent. It's probably not gonna like hit anything out of the hand because it's the elephant harpoon, but it's probably still better than nothing, right? So then we're gonna start with a pre-med. And we'll 3-oak. So this is why I like max filter, because I want to just find like a power card basically. Alright, hit a King Shark, which is fantastic. That's very good. Go ahead and load that. Imperial Seal Command, a little bit awkward here. Because we do notably need the action, or like we need the action point to play this is the only awkward thing. So we do have the pre-med trigger. God, Teklo's run so many D-reacts also. I kind of don't think we can afford to gold-baited hook this. So I guess the question is, if we keep this Imperial Seal Command in Arsenal, is it going to lose us the game? Probably more likely than not. I think we're actually maybe supposed to just pitch this and then just Arsenal Yellowfin. Assuming that they're just going to be taking a bunch of setup turns, which is more likely than not. But I think this works out pretty well for us. King Shark, notably not, like, amazing. I guess we do also get the pre-med. I think pitching the Imperial Seal is, like, semi-reasonable there. Alright, so we don't, unfortunately, get to take anything, so they have Cognition nodes, definitely signaling more of, like, a fatigue Teklovossen. So we don't get anything here, but that's fine. So maybe we could have afforded to throw the gold-baited hook on that. But the Teklovossens I feel like I'm used to are a lot more D-react oriented, but maybe that's not the case anymore. I've not been keeping up to date on my latest Teklovossen knowledge. Oh, their armor is also actions? Oh, that's a good point. That is actually... Yes, that does work that way, right? So actually, maybe Overpower is, like, somewhat legit in the Teklo. Alright, so let's start... I feel like we're just going to see, like, the drill shot to start off with. But yeah, the armor situation not being able to get around Overpower is, like, actually kind of huge for us, right? So we'll start with the drill shot, just coming in for 2 go again, potentially threatening a counter on their Steel Soul processor if they don't block. So it seems like they're really just going to give us the equipment there. That's fine. Go ahead and close the chain. I think we're going to just send in the tipple, right? The alternative is we discard the tipple, but I feel like that doesn't make any sense because, like, more than likely not, we're going to be able to draw into a card that lets us pay for stuff. So actually, hold on. Let's think about this more for a second. So we make a golden tipple. If we draw into a blue, then how do we send a king shark? Are we actually supposed to discard this golden tipple? Because if we, like, the problem is, like, how do we make sure we're not discarding a card that we draw to Codex of Fealty? Right? Does that make sense? I think we shouldn't actually play, or, like, we shouldn't actually play this. We should just Codex double pitch a Hammerhead, right? And then, because if we draw, like, a blue, like, if we draw a red, we can pitch to Hammerhead, right? Because we'd have 2 floating, red plus blue. But if we draw anything that's not a blue, then we basically just forego the value. Or actually, sorry, we shouldn't play this first. We should Hammerhead first and then discard the golden tipple, I think. Because the downside is we basically wouldn't get to be able to send it, right? I think that makes sense. So we're not going to put... Well, we could put the gold bait. I guess, like, how likely are they to be able to block the gold baited hook? On 10, I feel like it's pretty likely. They draw just, like, 3 block plus 2 reacts. It's, like, semi-likely or, like, standing order. So I think this is correct. We're probably not supposed to put the gold baited hook on this. You could Marlin, discard Goldfin to Codex, Arsenal Tipple. That is a play. So the downside of that play is that we're already getting an Arsenal off the Ponder token, but we'd guarantee that we get Golden Tipple and Arsenal, which we're basically using a gold as the cost to that. I think that is maybe worth considering. Like, I don't think that's actually a bad play, but, like, we get a King Kraken here, which is nice. I think if we hit, like, another random Arsenal, then maybe that gets worse. All right, the triple King Kraken hand is a little bit unfortunate, but that's fine. So this is actually a pretty good hand to just start off on the tipple. So yeah, if we didn't discard the tipple last turn, we just discarded, like, a harpoon, we would lose a gold, but we get to Arsenal Tipple, which is, like, one of our better arsenals, especially coming up on Tunic. The only problem with that is then we wouldn't have a gold to tipple in the first place. So that might get a little bit awkward. But I think this is a pretty clear, we're just going to go for the tipple here. And I think we're going to put the gold baited hook on the back end. I think we might as well just pitch one of these King Krakens. I guess, like, pitching the blue is largely the same, right? It doesn't really matter. We're probably going to be pitching these anyways next turn. And we have, like, the extra one arsenal here anyways. All right, so we'll make a gold, we get our reload, which we're not going to use, and then we can just send another King Kraken at them. Yeah, 1 gold, I think that's, like, a little dicey. I don't think that's, like, a bad play, though. That's, like, something to consider, at least. All right, so now we just get to not even use our Tunic counter here, which is quite nice. And then I think we will gold baited hook since we made the gold for free this turn, and then just come in with King Kraken. This one might actually be kind of nasty against Teklo, right? Because I feel like most of their cards are non-attack actions, or it seems like most of the cards we've seen so far are non-attacks. Alright, they have a sink. Pretty good. Fortunately, our hook's not at risk of being blown up here, so it's nice. But yeah, the overpower on this matchup actually seems kind of disgusting. As you can tell, I guess I don't have a ton of Teklo practice. Alright, we got the gold baited hook. Fantastic, and let's see, the King Kraken hits a Gravekeeping. Okay, not the end of the world there. So that's pretty good for us. They can't really play the Gravekeeping, so what are they doing with the Gravekeeping next turn? Probably not much. So we do have a Codex of Frailty we can turn over with this seafloor salvage here, which I think is going to be the play. We don't really need to like just go in all in on a bunch of gold here. Like we might as well just like convert our hand, maybe Arsenal to Sleep Dart or something. I feel like Sleep Dart is often a better arsenal than Redfin Harpoon, just because like you sometimes don't get the mana to play everything. So let's start with the salvage and just turn over our Codex, which basically is like once Codex goes to the graveyard, it's basically worthless. So there's not really like a downside in doing that. So we made our gold, might as well gold baited hook, and then just send in with the King Kraken. Yeah, but the King Kraken here is like quite nasty. Then we also just get like Sleep Dart plus Tunic next turn. How many of our power cards? We've seen one Codex, one 3-Oak. It's pretty good. We did bottom a lot of our buffs in the early game. Like we bottomed the Take Aim and the Gold the Tip. So we should have some decent buffs if we ever make it to second cycle. Although we're doing quite well right now. They don't have any armor up, or like they have a Gravekeeping Arsenal. They've only got one piece of armor, and we're just like getting to keep a full hand basically every turn. All right, Singularity plus Remembrance. So they're definitely going for some kind of fatigue thing here. So we get to hit, which is fantastic. Pulse Wave Protocol. So they're probably just going to Gravekeeping us next turn, which I don't think we really care about. I guess they can get rid of like our King Shark or something, but I don't think that matters. All right, they're just going to Cognition Node, putting a counter. Okay, plus Gravekeep. Okay, so I guess they can do both because this has go again, right? So I'm curious what they turn over with Gravekeeping. Like maybe just King Shark, because we already have Double Kraken. Yep, seems to be the case. Do we need to block here? Not particularly. I guess what is our play next turn? We can pump the Sleep Dart with like Riches and then Seafloor salvage it as well and just get a fat stack of gold arsenal to take game. I feel like it's probably the best play. We can afford to take a little bit of damage here as it doesn't really matter. They can put as many cards back in the deck as they want, but I don't think they can necessarily beat the Hammerhead. Yeah, I think we're just going to set up a fat stack of gold here. Okay, so we have Sleep Dart, we have Tunic. I guess the question is, like, do we want to get a little greedy? Because what we could do is we could pull Tunic, send Sleep Dart, and then potentially set a Redfin Harpoon on the back end of it if we wanted to, like, start cracking a little bit of gold. Kind of don't mind that. We could also just take aim on the Sleep Dart, pump to Hammerhead, not use Tunic, and then maybe, like, Arsenal Seafloor salvage. We got, like, two separate plays here, I think. I think I kind of like just giving the Sleep Dart go again and maybe just trying to fish for gold. We already have like a decent buffer and we're going to be making another gold this turn. So like sending another Harpoon is a pretty big upside. So we'll start with the Sleep Dart, pitching Riches just to like make gold. Seems pretty good. Still have Tunic counter up. So we pitch the gold. We'll have 3 resources functionally. If we draw blue, then we can just take aim plus Redfin. Or I guess we don't even need to take aim. We can like Arsenal take aim if we want to as well. Sleep Dart notably not incredible against Teklo. So we need to draw like a blue here. But if we don't draw blue, there are like other fail states that I feel like are fine. But we'll start by pitching the Seafloor salvage here. So we don't draw blue, but that's kind of an okay fail state. Yeah, I can definitely filter off the gold with Riches. That is an option. I mean, functionally, it's the same, right? Like we're going to be sending this anyways. I guess like the added benefit of doing the Sleep Dart first is that we get to have the reload trigger if we wanted it. I don't think we actually want the reload trigger here. I think we might just be sending in the Conqueror for 8. So we made a gold this turn. This is a pirate attack. We send it. We arsenal the Redfin, or we arsenal the take game. Could also get greedy and sack like 1 more gold here. But I don't know if that really benefits us super tangibly. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for the Conqueror. They kind of have to block this, even though they don't have an arsenal, just because it is threatening the gold-baited hook on hit. So they give us a Fate, that's fine. Okay, and we'll get the gold-baited hook trigger, fantastic. Close the chain and just arsenal take game for next turn. I think we're set up in a pretty good spot here. So put the riches back on top first, and then seafloor, and then okay, yeah, this seems good. Little bit of a clunky hand here, but if they're just gonna cognition nodes, maybe we don't care. Yeah, I don't think we really care. Okay, so how do we start this hand? The double big game trophy shot is a bit awkward. So we don't actually need the reload trigger off Marlin here. We could just start with the golden tipple, discarding a goldfin harpoon. We're almost assuredly going to be sending another pirate attack this turn, so we don't need to put the gold bait hook trigger on the tipple. So let's start with the tunic. Discard the goldfin harpoon. We're not going to gold bait hook. We're going to gold bait hook on the king shark. Draw Codex of Frailty. Interesting. So we reset our gold. So what's the play now? Thinking we fish off this hand. I think so. Like this hand's like kind of reasonable in that we could. I guess like the only problem with this hand is we don't keep an arsenal if we just send take aim plus this. So we could like okay. So what do we want if we filter for gold? We ideally want like 2 blues off the top. And I'm coming to you after work, so the brain capacity is not really good for remembering how many blues we pitched. I think we're honestly just supposed to like pitch 6 here and then take aim, send king shark at them. Like there is like a risky line we can do where you just sack a bunch of gold and try to fish for at least 2 blues to play. Is that better? You think we fish? We can try to fish. We can also big game trophy shot. Discard. No, the big game trophy shot doesn't do anything. Let's fish for 1. So we need to hit 2 blues in order to keep an arsenal here, which I think would ideally be big game trophy shot. So let's try to fish for 2 blues. All right, so we hit 1 blue. That's good. All right, yeah, fishing is for gamers. Let's do it. All right, so we need a blue off the top here. If we hit a blue off the top, then this is perfect. Okay, so the fish gamers were right. We got to go fish here, apparently. But yeah, this works out incredibly well. So now we get to gold baited hook. I think it's a little risky there. Like, I guess we're more likely than not to draw blues there because we did see like a red and yellow hand, but it seems like they're maybe off of it based on that. Yeah, playing a little bit slow, but I wanted to actually like think through my lines because I think that this deck is very much a you gotta think about like what you're actually doing instead of just like blind fishing. But it paid off there in that one scenario. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, fishing is for gamers. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can get another. All right, playing against a Victor. I feel like ideally I want to go first into Victor and just ring cross wrap. So we definitely want our king sharks. We want no tar pits. Golden tip is probably fine. Big game trophy shot's fine. Conquerors. And then unironically, maybe just bring in drop the anchor as an additional buff. I think I kind of like this. Let's try this. I think these are like the weakest cards in general. So basically our plan here is to just filter on turn 1. So what's the play? I guess we'll start with the quiver. What do we want to arsenal here? So we're probably pitching a pre-med. We're definitely, or actually maybe it's maybe it's drop the anchor first. We pitch the drop the anchor and the sunken and hope we don't hit. Kind of. All right, sunken treasure. Feel like we're maybe just supposed to arsenal the sleep dart here and pass. We could also filter the sleep dart. That's another option. Having pre-med and arsenal, not ideal, especially when we're not on the Crown and Dominion plan. I think. Oh yes, you're right. I should. If the plan is to hope to miss, then I should just be hammerheading. Yes, you're absolutely correct. So we'll go ahead and just pitch dropping through the bottom arsenal sleep dart. Yeah. So in that case where we're planning to miss, we shouldn't even be touching the quiver because the quiver can actually mess you up, right? Like you hit like a Like, let's say you hit a sleep dart off the top and it's already turned face over, and then your sea lace is broken, and or like your sea lace doesn't work, and then also your skullbone cross rep doesn't work. It's a pretty bad feel. All right, coming with disable. Spooky. So we could just block this. Not super exciting though. If we were to block this, we'd probably have to give up like all of our armor, which kind of sucks. What if we just block 6 on this and then send Sleep Dart for 3, get an opt, and then we can also just let this hit. Yeah. Yeah, I think we definitely should have hammerheaded though. This is so awkward. I feel like we're just supposed to let this hit, maybe? No, that doesn't even work. Maybe we're supposed to give up armor, but it's so early. I kind of feel like we're just supposed to send Sleep Dart for 3 and then like Arsenal Codex, probably. Yeah, block 6 is like fine. I think block 6 is like pretty reasonable. It's just awkward because I like don't want to necessarily be like sleep darting into a victor and just like giving them. I don't want to like give them free clash value if I don't have to. You will bottom the sleep dart just to try to find some like power. I think we're just sending in the sleep dart off pre-med, arsenaling the codex. Yeah, eating that just like totally bricks the turn. I was thinking of like if there's like a world where we give armor there. All right, so King Shark goes to bottom, and then we have a codex on top. So double codex, obviously not ideal. Did they skip Arsenal? Oh, they did skip an Arsenal. That's a good point. So maybe we're not even supposed to attack in there. It's entirely possible. Yeah, I think they skipped Arsenal, so maybe that was like a pretty strong signal that we should have just like passed. I think just passing doesn't necessarily like fix the problem because then they just like IP again, I guess. But like, yeah, maybe that's fine. All right, coming in with the choke slam for 7, which is kind of annoying. So attack action cards can't gain power, so that would work on our hammerhead. We can block with like a Redfin Harpoon here, and then just, or actually we can block 6 here, use Tunic, Codex. Yeah, this works, right? Just double block this. This works assuming that they don't have a pummel. If they do have a pummel, obviously terrible. But yeah, I think we're gonna live under the assumption that they don't have a pummel here. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to pitch the Codex here. I guess there was also like a world where maybe we're supposed to block with the Codex instead. But keeping the Codex in the deck is like pretty good threat. So let's start with the Skullbone and see what we hit off top. All right, I would like to Arsenal Big Game Trophy Shot next turn. Or do I actually? Yeah, if the pummel we cry. That's basically, it is what it is, right? I feel like the Big Game Trophy Shot is actually not very good right now because we aren't sitting on any gold. So I think we're gonna just bottom that and then Hammerhead, pull Tunic, and then just send in Redfin or Bluefin. That's a good question. I feel like Bluefin we're more likely to get a gold, but with Redfin we might be able to take a more powerful card off of out of hand. So it's either Redfin or Bluefin. I think. I feel like it's maybe supposed to be a Bluefin just so we can take cards like resource cards out of them, right? If they have like a bunch of reds in hand, maybe we don't actually care about the Redfin. I think I'm supposed to take the Bluefin. Don't know if that's right though. Yeah, Redfin maybe wins this tempo. I feel like the Bluefin they're more likely to give us like cards for though. One thing like about Victor is like a lot of their reds are block cards, which they can just throw in front of it anyways. Hey, we want to clash. Let's fucking go. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we are going to be keeping it up. Yeah, we have a very cool stream planned for Friday. I don't know if you were there in the beginning, but yeah, hell yeah, we want to clash. All right, so they're gonna trounce again. Ooh, we got a 3 oak off the top. Am I interpreting this correctly? Okay, they get Vigor Might and Cranial Crush. Cranial Crush notably not amazing if we get a 3-Oak in Arsenal, but still pretty good. 3-Oak plus Conqueror is a pretty nice combo if they just go for like a CNC here or something. Alright, the Cranial Crush. So we cannot beat a Pummel. I guess they didn't have Pummel last turn though, so that's good. We don't have any information, I think, about what this last card in hand is. So one play I see is we block with this 3-Oak plus 2 pieces of armor, and then we try to go for Conqueror into 3-Oak, which is risky. I feel like the better play is maybe just to block with the Conqueror and like Seafloor Salvage, and then now we have double 3-Oak, which gets us as many resources as we want, so we're basically guaranteed to almost send at least a arrow for 8, if not more. So I kind of like this play, and then if they manage to pummel us, what do? We discard the 3-Oak, and then we still, or I guess we don't have a play because they would do that, right? There's no being pummel here though, I guess, right? We just take this. If they have it, they have it. Yeah. So I think I like that play. So now we also get the Skullbone value here. Yeah, I think a lot of players haven't decided on what the core of Marlin is. I do like her. Ooh, Eye on top is nasty. If we block with the 3-Oak as well, does that beat Pummel? I feel like there's a higher upside in keeping the second 3-Oak because it like basically all but guarantees us having a turn. I think getting time walked is like getting time walked with 2 3-Oaks is probably not ideal. But yeah, I feel like people haven't really necessarily. Also, we want a 3-Oak from hand first, just so we're not. We can always play this 3-Oak from Arsenal. So yeah, we'll do this first. People I feel like haven't largely agreed on the core of Marlin yet, but I think there are a lot of like standout cards that are pretty good. Let's start, I think, with the Hammerhead pitching Eye, trying to find like one of our good arrows. So then we're gonna double bottom these and just try to find something a little bit more impactful. We're looking ideally for another Harpoon. I pretty much take any Harpoon at this point. It does feel a little bit wasteful using like 2 3-Oaks on what is presumably going to be a somewhat mid-turn. All right, almost assuredly a mid-turn. So we can actually fish here with the Quiver first if we want to see if there's another arrow. Yeah, I definitely need a Harpoon there. Okay, unfortunately no Harpoon. So one thing we can actually do here is we can activate Quiver in response and try to fish for a better arrow. Bolt and Shot, is that good? Not really, but I'll take it because that's pretty much what we're going to be doing anyways. So yeah, I guess we're sending it with a Bolt and Shot. They kind of have to block this, which is at least nice. Yeah, but I think we bricked somewhat, like, pretty bad there. So we had how many looks at Harpoon? I think we had like 8 looks at a Harpoon. All right, so block this out. That's fine. Win another clash. A little bit annoying, but not the end of the world. So we'll close the combat chain. Yeah, maybe keeping double 3-Oak like that was like a little aggressive, but I feel like we had a more than likely chance to draw at least like one of our 9 or I guess we were running. How many other Harpoons? We have like 10 other Harpoons in the deck. Yeah, I feel like our odds to hit there were actually like pretty good. So I think we're gonna just go ahead and Arsenal Bolt and Shot. No, that's probably wrong. Probably Searing Shot, I guess. Not a very exciting turn. Yeah, I think we really needed a Harpoon there, but sometimes Marlin giveth, Marlin taketh away. Yeah, Marlin, like, if we had just like one more like really good. So you know what I really want for this deck? I want like a Harpoon. I want a Harpoon that like gets around just like hyper defensive decks. Like it would be nice if there was just a like no on hit Harpoon that just cared about like almost like a CNC Harpoon where it's just like you cannot use D-reacts on this, or almost like a Remorseless effect, right? Like Remorseless was basically printed. Oh, 10-foot tall and bulletproof again. Okay, fascinating. All right, disable, no pummel threat. I guess we can just like give the arms here and block 7, and then pre-med take aim. Actually, maybe we want to Arsenal to take him depending on what we see on top. Yeah, 2 or 3 more harpoons, or like some way to like give her a bit more, because overpower is like terrible evasion, right? Like it's basically worthless the majority of the time, it feels like. All right, so let's go ahead and Skullbone cross wrap. So Dreadbore is interesting because like Dreadbore, I feel like does not work with the current shell of Marlin. At least it feels like to me. Golden Tip, is that a good arsenal? We don't have any gold, so it's pretty bad. I think we should just fish for power. So I think we're gonna basically just double pump, and if they want to like, if we want to just like block out and then arsenal next turn, I think we're maybe happy with that. And if we get to hit with this, obviously it's quite nice. So Dreadbore is really interesting in Marlin, right? Because like theoretically it does solve the problem of just like hyper reactive decks that just want to block everything you're doing. The only problem is like a lot of like you're basically sacrificing all of your on hits just to like make or just to like play Dreadbore. So like you're getting a bunch of vanilla damage and you're never able to hit with anything. You could make the argument you're never able to hit with anything anyways, but I do think that there's a point in a lot of Marlin games where your opponent will just like run out of reacts and stuff. All right, we're getting hard counted. That's fine. Well, at least they're playing Tough Nut next turn. Double 10-foot tall. Okay, we got a gamer on our hands. I feel like we're just supposed to block and pass, right? And then just arsenal like big game trophy shot. I think that's the play. I'd rather arsenal a big game trophy shot over the gold the tip, just because this does give the free load. If they pummel this, do I care? A little bit, I guess, but like, I think it's probably fine. All right, so they have no cards in it. I guess they, so since it's actually kind of like an interesting synergy, right? Like they IP1'd, but because the intellect didn't apply, they get to keep the card in hand, which is kind of fascinating. That's actually kind of sick. Maybe I should be playing this deck, right? All right, Miller's Grindstone, vanilla damage, we don't care. We are struggling to get them below 40 is a problem I'm seeing. Yeah, LSS definitely has a favorite in every set. I got lucky in the sense that I intentionally picked. Oh, they hit 3 oak off the top. That's gross. All right. I got lucky in that I picked Zen as my hero, even though I thought he wasn't the favorite. Ooh, wait, is King Shark good? So we big game trophy shot, pitch the gold the tip, discard drop the anchor, load King Shark, send King Shark for 14. God, unfortunately, we're just like not able to generate any gold this game, which really sucks. We could get a little bit more aggressive here. Oh, does Pilates seem pushed? That's kind of interesting. Yeah, when MSU came out, everyone did think Zen was bad. I personally think Zen was bad. Also, hello, Carrie. Let's big game trophy shot. I guess it doesn't really matter here, right? We discard the drop the anchor, and then we just have to send in the King Shark here. So we could get a little bit greedy and put the gold baited hook on this, but it's super terrible if we whiff. Also, we're like running out of deck. How is that possible? I guess it kind of makes a little bit of sense, right? We've kind of hit a little bit of mid hands recently, I feel like. Yeah, I think we're just sitting in the King Shark, unfortunately. So it's actually funny. I don't know if I assume people in the chat maybe are aware, but we're working on a Zen documentary, which is coming out soon. We've had to change how we're going to be releasing it, so we're going to be releasing it in I think multiple parts instead of like one huge thing all at once. But that's coming up soon, so you'll get to see a lot of the funny things that people thought about Zen. We hit with the King Shark, which is fantastic. I guess we're taking the Righteous Cleansing. They can't play the Cranial Crush, so more than likely they're just going to pitch it. Or actually, I guess in that case, we should probably take the Cranial Crush and just starve them of resources. I think that makes sense. So unfortunately, we don't get an Arsenal here, but we get to potentially just like load off a card anyways. So imagine their turn is just going to be visiting the Gold Main Estate and setting up. And then we get to hit him with the King Shark next turn. I feel like best case scenario is they just Millers us here. Fantastic. Yep, so just pass. They get to mill us another card, which is a little scary, but they get a Bolden Shot, which we don't really care about. So I think we're all in all not in terrible shape. So we take game, load the King Shark, cross wrap, and then go off an Arsenal for another turn, but that's fine because we do have at least one live Codex in the deck. I think we pitched a Codex pretty early. So I think we're just going to get the reload. Reload is face down, which is fantastic for cross-wrap value, so we get an additional opt. I think Yellowfin Harpoon is whatever, so bottom that, and then send in Harpoon again. Do we want to put the gold-baited hook on this? I feel like the answer is still no. Like, they just have so much armor up. They have 5 points of armor here. Potentially can give us quick dodge as well. If they break our gold-baited hook, we lose one of our best ways to, like, clear their gold. So I feel like there's a pretty substantial risk to losing that. So how many Clash cards have we seen? We've seen all 3 trounces, no test of strengths. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I would hook here either. I think it's like they have too much armor up for hook to matter, and I think there's like they have some number of test of strength still left in the deck, so I think there's a pretty substantial risk to that. All right, we have riches on top, which could be pretty decent if we want to try to start using our gold-baited hook. All right, so is our opponent actually playing Pummel, I guess is a question. I guess CNC is like basically worthless, right? Because we don't have an Arsenal. It's a little bit better if they have Pummel in Arsenal, but we haven't seen the Pummel yet, so I feel like the play is actually just to take the Debilitate here, and that would kind of put them off being able to use their Vigor super efficiently. So I think it's the play. I feel like in normal circumstances, I would just take the Command and Conquer there, but I think that's correct. So opponent obviously representing Pummel. We can't do anything about Pummel, and nor should we try to do anything about Pummel, so I think we're just taking this. They have it, but seems... Okay, I was going to say it seems unlikely, but I guess they do have it. Sure. So that's pretty bad. Yeah, not going to sugarcoat that one. That one's not ideal. So we get rid of... What do we get rid of here? It's probably Big Game Trophy Shard, right? Like, it just has to be. Card's good, but, like, it's super inefficient on this hand. Discarding Murderous, you think? Yeah, Lyath is pretty cool. I think we're not supposed to hold on to the Big Game Trophy Shot. I think we're just supposed to get rid of it and maybe just try to send a Bluefin. Is my... Because if we get a blue off the top, then we get to just pitch Riches, send Bluefin. Yeah, I honestly discarded the $300 card might not be wrong, but like it being able to refresh itself and turn on our gold-baited hook is like a pretty big deal. All right, don't draw the blue, which is unfortunate. I think we're going to be fishing at least one more time, if not more. Yeah, I think we're going to start cracking some gold here. Okay, Codex. Is that a good draw? It's probably a good draw, right? We need one more resource. We need one more resource to be able to do everything if we wanted to also drop the anchor. So my play that I'm seeing is we drop the anchor. We have Tunic up 2. I think we need to get a little bit greedy here if we want to win. Discarding Riches to send a message is very powerful. I like that. All right, perfect. So we drew a blue. That's fantastic. Let's now drop the anchor. Hammerhead. Codex. Grabbing our King Shark. So this actually works out really well. Yeah, I feel like fishing is like actually a very important skill that this deck test is like. So I feel like if we don't fish there, we're gonna lose that, like lose the game. But because we decided to fish, that put us in a pretty advantageous position where now we're able to Codex and then send a King Shark. Like I think at some point you need to like, especially with this deck, let's actually get our. Oh, excuse me. Let's get our cross-wrap value here. Sunken Treasure. Oh, fantastic. We get to opt that to the bottom so we don't have to arsenal it. Sick. So pull our Tunic. We have made a gold because we pitched the riches, right? So we get to send in this, and then we get to do. Yeah, this is actually perfect, right? Have we reached the pitch stack? So we had a sunken treasure. Did we pitch a sunken treasure pretty early? We might be at pitch stack. That's a good question. Didn't we? The games might be bleeding together a little bit here, but I thought we pitched double buff or at least one buff in the beginning of the game. Oh, was that maybe the drop anchor? That might have been. Yeah, we might actually be at stack. You might be right. Or actually, didn't we also pitch a codex? So we should be seeing another codex coming up if that's the case, right? I think this works out pretty well. Yeah, efficiency. I like that. That's hilarious. Yeah, like, I don't know what Marlin needs. She needs like one. I don't even know if it's a buff or an arrow she needs. I feel like I'm leaning towards she needs just another like arrow, or maybe even like some flexible combination of the two, like maybe some like weird split card that could be kind of interesting as well. Maybe some hybrid arrow buff thing. All right, this is fantastic for us. We're actually getting a hit with this. Take the disable, obviously. Arsenal bluefin. Okay, okay, okay. I think we're back in this game. So 10 foot tall. Okay, we're back. So all right, I'm getting thrown off by the 10 foot tall and bulletproof here. Someone do the thinking for me. Oh, what did you say earlier? I might have missed it. So let me see if I can go back and find your comment. Yeah, 10 foot, the triple 10 foot tall and bulletproof Victor deck is interesting. So let's give them the Sea Lice Sarong, and I think we're just going to one here. Is that right? I feel like we just want to try to kill him with this hand, right? Oh yeah, go fish. Yeah, I feel like some other way to like load too would get around her like needing gold all the time. I feel like we're just keeping this hand and just gonna YOLO off gold a little bit. Yeah, I think we're going to one. We might. I don't know if we're winning or losing this game. I think we're losing this game pretty resoundingly, but that's fine. So let's cross wrap first. All right, so let's. So I don't think we're actually at stack just yet, or maybe we are at stack, but we have like a codex coming up. So yeah, I think our codex is coming up. So what are the chances that we draw like 2 blues in a row? Somewhat okay. Yeah, we definitely want the blue there. So let's start with a gold. Draw the blue. And I think we're just going to try to go for the triple blue, right? If we don't hit the triple blue, I feel like there's some backup plays we can do. Yeah, let's fish for some resources here. King Shark is not exactly what we want. So in that case, I think what we're actually supposed to do is just triple buff, send the bluefin in. Because now there's no real way to come back from the King Shark here. So if we get another blue there, I think we're like in pretty good shape, but it's not guaranteed. This is a good arsenal though, so I think we're actually supposed to go for this. Just triple send in and then send in the bluefin. Do we want to gold bait hook this? Seems pretty reasonable given that they're on a 2-card hand. Yeah, the 2-card hand is actually quite relevant here. So what we can do next turn is we can like block 3, and assuming that they're going to just send in with the Miller's Grindstone, we block 3, give up cross wrap, and then we're in pretty good shape. Yeah, I think this is like actually surprisingly good. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to use the Ponder token here, but we have a King Shark in Arsenal, which is pretty like a pretty big deal. Yeah, also for the thumbnail, I don't know how many of you recognized it, but it's from Inscription, I think is the name of the game. It's one of one of my favorite games that I convinced Tegan on. Tegan was originally thinking that was like a horror game, but it's just like a little like roguelike card game or whatever. But I convinced Tegan on it, and Tegan is now a fan. So very big fan of that game. Hell yeah, Inscription. Oh, so this is fantastic for us. We get 2 blues out of their hand. They basically get time locked, and then we get a king shark. The golden sun would be funny. I will admit that. 2 blues is exactly what we needed, I think. Oh yeah, the hook. Yeah. The hook sharks. I remember those. The ones that like eat your card or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty sick. Pre-med could be fantastic here if we get 2 blues. Even this is like fine. So we have a couple options on this hand. I guess let's cross wrap and see what's on top first before we kind of make any decisions here. So blue on top. Is blue on top good? So we can. Oh, actually, we can big game trophy shot if we discard. No, that doesn't quite work. I guess we would need 2 pitch resources. So we could fish for some more resources here. Oh, excuse me. We could fish for some more resources here. There is like a small risk. Oh, yellow harpoon for 5. Yellow harpoon 5 for 2. If you activate a cannon's turn, it gets overpowered, and reaction cards can't block. Just to make it easier. Yes, that is exactly what like Marlin needs. So I think we keep this on top. I think that's a fantastic idea. That's the exact card that I was trying to explain as well. Like just some way to like punish like D-react decks. So I think what we're gonna be doing here is just going for the big game trophy shot, discarding our harpoon off Marlin. And even if we don't get to activate cannon this turn, we're probably gonna be still sending a pretty big arrow anyways. So the play I'm envisioning is we big game trophy shot, draw blue, sack gold, draw blue. Does that give us the resources that we want? We're probably still arsenaling this anyways, even if we don't go for that line. So we have 1 floating, we need 2 for this, we need 4 for this. So if we blue, assuming we're going to pitch this, we have 2 resources floating afterwards. We draw blue and then we draw another blue, then that means we would have 3, but we also know we have a codex and a golden tip at some point. We have actually only seen 1 golden tip. So it's actually probably not correct to do that. I don't know if we're actually supposed to use a gold here. I think we... It's so weird. I think we... I guess maybe we do just try to find gold first. It's interesting here. I feel like this is actually like a pretty meaningful decision point. Let's, I guess, gold... See what we draw. So we do draw blue. Now we can big game trophy shot and just see what we hit. There's Codex, which is, I think, a little bit unfortunate because that means we can't do everything here. So I think that was the risk that I was going for. Is we have like at least 3 yellows off the deck, so this means unfortunately we don't get to activate a harpoon, but we still get to send in a pretty big arrow even if we're not activating it, which is maybe okay. Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to not go for the big game trophy shot. This is like still kind of fine though. So now I think we just send in the King Shark Arsenal Codex, and we're probably still in a fine spot. Yeah, I think maybe the more I think like given that I had at least 2 gold tips left in the deck plus a Codex of Frailty, how many big game trophy shots have we seen? Seen all of our big game trophy shots. So I feel like it was pretty likely. I think it was pretty likely there that we don't draw blue. So I feel like the play of maybe just not going for fish and just holding on to a little bit of our gold is, I think, a little safer. And it seems like they're maybe just going to cover with the quick dodge as well. It seems fine. Seems like it's a little bit safer. But we do still get the on hits here, which is quite nice. They do have to reveal some card from the hand. If they don't have a attack, it's a little bit rough. But even then, we're probably still in okay shape. So they reveal the debilitate, we get to discard it, that's fantastic. And now we just Arsenal Codex. Coming with the Millers, that's fine. So now we just block with what, like Seafloor Salvage, or we can block with the Conqueror as well. So it's either Conqueror plus this, or Seafloor Salvage plus this. Murderous Rabble, I feel like, is pretty likely to be a 0 for 3 here. So I feel like blocking with the Conqueror makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, I think we've now definitely hit the pitch stack, so... Actually, have we? Yeah, okay. I think no, we definitely have by now. So I think we have a codex coming up like the next, or no, sorry, this is the codex we have. So we already have the codex. So yeah, we're definitely at pitch deck by now. So yeah, this is fine. So yeah, I think we're just gonna go for the. I was thinking we go for the murder travel just as a 0 for 3 because it will force a card out of hand, and then we get to King Shark anyways, right? So I think Conqueror doesn't quite work for this hand. I guess 8 and a 6 is also not bad. So is that better? So 8 and a 6 probably does kill. Yeah, I think that's actually better. I mean, they probably die regardless. So okay, so yeah, so I guess the question here is it better to block with the blue versus the Conqueror? So the Conqueror sends 14 damage, this sends 13 damage, but we do get the overpower on this, which might matter. They do have some number of Test of Strength still left. I think they have all 3 Test of Strength still left in the deck, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess we'll go ahead and just pitch here, Codex, grab the King Shark. I think the 14 damage play might have actually been better than the 13 damage play, just because what it also does is it forces the card. I guess like it doesn't really matter here. Like they need, even if they hit double Test of Strength, they probably, I guess double test of Strength would keep them in the game, right? They'd have to have 2 Test of Strength in this hand, and then double block with it, hit a blue off the top, draw it, and then they get to send in with Millers for 3. But even then, that doesn't really like win them the game necessarily. So they have 1 Test of Strength, which is definitely good. But I think we just barely got there. Holy crap. That was the game. Oh. This is like this is why I don't play this deck. Or this is why I like struggle to play this as a stream deck, is that I spend 22 minutes, they spend 10 minutes. I feel like that there's like some thinking equity that I'm maybe not sharing equally with my opponent. No hook is yeah, definitely. We probably should have gone for the BM hook there, just so they take out 10-foot tall and bulletproof, so we don't have to see that card. Yeah, classic misplay. Let me actually pull out the misplay jar and add that there real quick. Holy crap, that was a game. I was kind of doubting that we were gonna win that for a second, but their like pitch stack was actually kind of insane. So I think that worked out pretty well. I do think that going Conqueror into just Harpoon for 6 is maybe a better line. All right, good luck at Armory Carry. Go 0 for 3. I assume you're playing Riptide. All right, we got a Kano. All right, at least this will be a quick one. Not much agency in this matchup. All right, give him a good luck, have fun, and a thinking. All right, so the Kano matchup, we definitely want to board out the King Shark Harpoons. We bring in Drop the Anchors. We bring in Tipple just for go again. I think we leave out the Conquerors. Gold tips are good. Riches are good. And big game trophy shots are also good. So this leaves us with 1 card. Okay, seems like they left, so doing us a favor. You gotta try, like, Marlin is like, okay, she's like trash tier, she's C tier. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it here. Like, everything she does, the assassins do better. All right, we got a gravy. Fantastic. We'll go first. All right, give them a good luck, have fun. So going first in gravy, we don't want Dominion. We want Cross Wrap, Tunic, and I'll give them a thinking real quick. So we definitely want the Quiver. Sea Lace is good. All right, so I think this is roughly correct. Now we also don't want the King Krakens. We do want to drop the Anchors. Big game trophy shots are fine. Tipples are good. I think the big game trophy shots are actually like kind of whatever. Maybe we're supposed to bring in the Conquerors over that. I feel like something like this is probably close to what I would do. Yeah, 10-foot tall is kind of hilarious in Victor. I'm not even gonna lie. It's very funny. I think it's something like this, right? And then we just run cross wrap since we're going first. Yeah, it seems good. I think for going second, we're supposed to run Dominion. All right, seafloor salvage is nice. So I think this is probably just going to be a filtering hand. So King Kraken is interesting to Gravy because like a lot of the times they want to. So I think you can make the argument for running King. It's actually interesting. I wonder which is better between the King Shark and the King Kraken. Because my perception is they want to have their allies at discard anyways. But if we do get a card out of hands, then maybe we just give them. I feel like we're actually just supposed to pass with this hand, which is kind of weird. Like I feel like we're not even supposed to activate Hammerhead. Like we just want to keep this hand, like C4 Salvage plus King Shark plus random other card we can maybe block with or something. Um. Yeah, I don't think is Fab with Hasbro. I don't think that's necessarily correct. Uh, but yeah, not the biggest fan of Magic to begin with, anyways. All right, Golden Tipple. Sure. So I think there definitely is actually an argument. Maybe Kraken is better. It's a good question. So we're gonna come with the Golden Tipple. We don't have any gold to steal, so we're basically just they didn't activate Hook either, so they're not gonna be stealing any gold, so this is fine. Actually, I think you're probably right that we're supposed to be running Kraken anyways. I think you're actually right that Kraken is better. I think in my normal sideboard I might have that as hold on, let me check my normal sideboard for Gravy. I think I have both in the normal sideboard for Gravy. I board out Gold to Tip. I guess that kind of makes sense. All right, Kano Chum. So they are off to a pretty good start. We do have the potential to get some C4 salvage value depending on how they play this out, though. So I think our play is almost assuredly we're just sending in the King Shark for 6 plus C4 salvage, arsenaling a blue. So I think in that case, what we're supposed to do is just block with like drill shot here. I think Kraken. Yes, I think Kraken is better. Let's just block with the drill shot. We could give the gold baited hook if we want to just deny them a little gold. But I feel like there are other on hits that maybe the gold baited hook is better for, so we'll just give them the 3 here. Play Golden Tip, walk right into a Chum activation. Interesting. Yeah, I think okay, Kraken definitely better. I think we probably have to maybe adjust the sideboard for that a little bit. I thought about both. I think maybe the correct choice is you're basically just supposed to run both just to deal with Chum. Well, let's start with the C4 salvage here and turn over Rigor Mortis, which I think will put us decently ahead. If we want to activate Chum here, that's fine. We have a King Shark that we can just send at it. Yeah, that's kind of a good point that like Chum activation is pretty darn rough for action point constrained classes. Actually, we should cross route first before we do anything. Right, they're gonna chum. That's fine. Wait, why are they chumming now? They saw what we revealed, right? Interesting. Yeah, I mean, like we're still just set up to just send at the chum anyways. It doesn't really matter, right? So we submit the op there. That's I guess. Sorry, we probably want to actually bottom that. Yeah, so we bottom this with the opt. They chum, that's fine. Like we want them to chum here ideally because we need to clear this at some point this game. Like leaving chum on the field is pretty bad if they're discarding a card to do this. I think that's a pretty big game. Yeah, chum having 6 health is push to say the least. Yeah, I think maybe you're unironically supposed to just run both the Krakens and the King Sharks and just get rid of the gold tips. I think this works out pretty well for us, though. Like, they basically discarded a card to do nothing, kind of. Alright, IC is pretty good. Let's see what we got. Speaking of Bush cards, this is another one of those very good gravy cards. Alright, Call to the Grave, so pretty likely that they can Swabby this turn or Sawbones, both of which are annoying. I guess Swabby's like a little bit more annoying. Or no, Sawbones is definitely more annoying, right? Because now the Searing Shot doesn't fully clear that. Yeah, the 6 health on I the 6 health on Chum is like hard for a lot of decks to deal with. I don't even think it's just Marlin. Oh, you can definitely cut Harp. Like I cut King Shark or King Kraken in a lot of matchups. It kind of depends. Like into Warrior, like King Kraken is like pretty terrible. Or sorry, no, it's King Shark into like Kasai or whatever is like pretty terrible, right? Just because they like don't run any attacks in the first place. Like Color Grave pretty good here. Yeah, I feel like maybe the correct answer here is we're supposed to be cutting Gold to Tip like the sideboard says, and then just running the King Kraken and the King Shark both together. All right, coming in with the Sawbones. Does not have Go again, fortunately, though. So what's the play here? We can pre-med. Interesting they didn't gold weighted hook. I think I'm just going to take this then. I mean, I was probably going to take it anyways. They dead threads. Oh, they still do have an action point. Wait, they're just playing a Sea Legs? Interesting. I guess, is that better than just playing out Swabby? I feel like that's not. Yeah, honestly, like maybe having some number of blue 1-for-3s over the Searing Shots is like pretty reasonable just for the Gravy matchup. They were just saying no blocks to this though. Yeah, 6 is a pretty common attack value, so I think that rationale is somewhat sound. Um, I do think that for a lot of decks it is just like very, very difficult to clear though. I think our opponent also missed. Did they make a gold that turn? Yeah, they made a gold off the chart the high seas. I think they might have missed a gold activation. So golden tipple on top, is that good? It's a good codex target, if anything, right? We can like kill the oh shit, we should have given this go again. Alright, so we shouldn't know about this card. Yeah, fuck, we should have sea laced. Oh, that was a pun. Okay. That's fine though. So now alright, so okay, obviously misplay here in that we should have sea laced just to give this go again, take aimed, and then codexed. But now that we have the information, we're not going to like undo anything, so that's fine. So we can actually save ourselves a little bit here by just drawing into the tipple so that we can clear the Sawbones. But obviously the correct play is to give this go again, maybe just like pre-med or take aim it, and then just like play Codex afterwards, getting a 0 cost, and then send it at face. Yeah, I think Gravy's just like a very polarizing hero. I'm not the biggest fan of just how he plays in general. So we'll start with a pre-med, I guess. This game is a little bit scuffed if you all cannot tell. We'll start with a tipple. Next time action hits a hero, so this hitting Sawbones does not count. And I guess the question is, do we want to just save the Codex or do we want to discard it? I feel like saving it's probably better, right? Actually, yeah, I think that's fine. So yeah, this turn's a little bit scuffed. I also don't like this on Telesur, like the order their trigger. I feel like the Water Grave trigger does not matter the majority of the time. Yeah, I think Gravy does warp the meta in kind of a unhealthy way, but I feel like most illusionists kind of do in the first place. Let's send in the Searing Shot. I'm probably just keeping this in Arsenal for next turn. They get to Compass, that's fine. Yeah, I think we definitely punted this game, but that's kind of more on me than anything. I don't think that this was necessarily like a draw. I don't think this was like an unbeatable draw or anything. I think I just punted maybe one too many times. You at least get the Searing Shot value here. Yeah, I think so. Gravy is really interesting because he does feel like he's the most fair illusionist, right? Like I think he is kind of, but like even a fair illusionist is unfair, which is kind of crazy. But this hand is nice if they don't play out a super huge ally this turn. Golden Tipple coming in. All right, let's see what they're discarding here. They do have a Suavi in the bin so far. All right, discarding Rigor Mortis, so we have 2 allies in the bin now. That's okay. So fortunately, we don't have a Chum here, which is, I think, we don't have a Chum and we don't have an Anka, both of which I think could potentially host this next turn. So I think ideally we're going to try to go for like Murderous Rabble into Arrow for 13 at them. But yeah, I think we should just be running both Harpoons in this matchup. I think having a decent... Oh, another Rigor Mortis in the bin. Okay. They're taking a lot of setup here. Was Take Aim a better arsenal than Codex? Let's actually think about that. I guess we'd, like, let's say they hit us with the Conqueror. Which would we rather lose? We'd probably rather lose the Take Aim. So yes, I think I agree that the Take Aim was a better arsenal than the Codex. All right, getting rid of a Blood in the Water is also quite interesting. Sending in with the Rigor Mortis, that's fine. Yep, I think we say no blocks to this, right? We're just going to go ham, send face. Seems good. Yeah, I think Gravy... Gravy is like a weird... Because there's this interesting concept that I was thinking about for the Zen doc, where I think Zen is kind of... So I think Zen was very similar to... not very similar, but it had a very similar problem to Gravy, right? Where I think that there's Gravy as like a product, right? And then there's Gravy as like a hero that you want to like play in your game. And I feel like sometimes the Gravy product, like in terms of like him being like pushed or whatever, like they need to sell packs and they need to sell cards, like that's kind of a thing, right? I think that there are sometimes maybe like opposing, what do you call it? We definitely don't want the Sunken Treasure in Arsenal, so we're gonna bottom that. But I feel like those interests kind of conflict a lot of times. It's like they want to push a very new hero so that they sell packs, but ultimately, if it's too pushed, then the meta gets very warped and very strange. I feel like Zen had a similar problem, but not in the way that they intended Zen to be powerful, right? They originally intended Zen to probably be kind of... Oh, thank you for the thank you for liking Thumbnail. But I think they originally intended Zen to be not powerful, right? And then we saw it happen with like CC and Blitz, and basically the people who were playing Blitz, right? They basically got the chance to play with their cards for what, like a couple months, if anything, right? So it's interesting that Zen kind of faced a similar problem where the I guess like the people wanted to play with their Zen cards, right? But him being like just a very, very insane broken hero, especially in Blitz, means that people can't play their cards as much. So now they have to like take cards away. It's kind of like a similar problem to Gravy, where like I feel like the product side just kind of clashes with at least like the gameplay balance side at least. Yeah, I think Gravy is a better deck to have as the best deck in format. Ooh, discarding a Sea Legs to a Codex is quite nasty. I feel like Gravy is a better best deck in format to have than... Also, we should be gold... Oh, hold on. Sorry. We should be gold baiting hook this. But Gravy, I think, is a little bit easier to tech for than like Aurora, because Aurora can just like kill you out of nowhere, right? And there's not really a ton of counterplay you can do that, but like Gravy does have counterplay, I feel like. I don't know. Yeah, we definitely want to hook there. That was me just going on a rant about how I think Gravy and Zen are very similar. So we steal the gold, that's great. Get hit as well. See if they got any attack actions in there. So I feel like this King Shark is going to be a good indication of whether or not we should just be running King Kraken in this matchup, which I think is correct, right? Probably should just be running the Kraken instead. Like, I think even if we do just have to discard an ally in their hand, we're taking a resource away from them, which is very, very, very strong. So we actually get rewarded here by running the King Shark. So we get a Golden Tipple, which is fantastic. And then they don't have at least a face-up way to discard the chum other than hero ability. So I think we're taking the Tipple here for sure. Get a random arsenal. Yeah, I do think that I kind of agree with your sentiment that Gravy can feel like a pretty frustrating deck. Also, what did they arsenal off of the I maybe wasn't paying attention to this, but did they have a Conqueror that they were able to arsenal? If that's the case, then it's probably right to take the blue there, right? Ooh, drop anchor's nice. Oh, they just got a tipple? Okay, we don't care about that. Sorry, that was me not paying attention to the game and just like yapping a bunch. Alright, blue golden tipple for 0. More than fine with us. The chum is quite annoying though. However, we can clear it with just Yellowfin if they do end up playing it. So the chum is actually maybe not that bad. It's a little bit bad. This hand would be sick if the chum was not a thing. Oh, they're just gonna go for Sawbones instead? This is great if they could just go for this, right? Yeah, not banning Flicker was interesting to say the least. Alright, so this hand's fantastic, right? We just get to go again, Sea Lace, opt, let this hit, we don't care. Send face, GG's. Yeah, I think this works. So I think it's a little bit... Yeah, I think they're... I didn't pay attention to what they got back off of Codex, so maybe taking the blue there off over the Tipple was better. Or, yeah, taking the blue over the... Yeah, I think that probably was better. Yes, taking the blue there was almost certainly better. For some reason, I was thinking that they didn't have, like, another thing, but yeah, that was just me not paying attention. Alright, so we're definitely starting with the cross rep here. See what we reveal on top. Okay. Is that good? For some reason, I feel like that's not actually good, right? It's bad. I feel like that's a bad draw on top, so I think we're supposed to bottom this. Because we already have a 3-oak in hand. We would basically just end up pitching a 3-oak to 3-oak. So I think we submit the up down. And then we can just load up on a big Yellowfin, right? Yeah, I think 1 3-oak is probably good enough, right? We just dump everything on a Yellowfin, get a free arsenal off the pre-med. I think we're just going full aggro. Like, this is, I think, the point to pivot, right? Sea Lice here instead of Skull. That's dependent on us hitting a Harpoon off the top that we'd rather play over the Yellowfin, which is semi-likely. I was thinking we were just going to send in the Yellowfin with Go again, because we don't really need to clear the Sawbones as, like, an urgent thing. Pitching 20 resources and sending a 7 or something. So the problem is we can't load, like, the 3-oak off of the 3-oak, right? That's the only problem, even if we, like, clear out the arsenal. Because it's Marlin specifies arrows. Let's, I guess, go for it here. So let's start... Yeah, just send in with a 3-oak. Bottoming the 3-oak is a little bit awkward. Maybe we were supposed to actually keep that on top just as a random arsenal. Oh boy, we got a Marlin hand. This is maybe not that bad, though. So we go 4 here, we pull Tunic, we can arsenal Tipple. Yeah, Tipple here is a good arsenal. So we Hammerhead, pitch the Conqueror. And then we just send it with a huge arrow and hope it's good enough. They do still have quite a few allies in the bin, which is the only concern, I feel like. But we do get to tap down the Sawbones, so they functionally aren't, like, they lose this ally for a turn, which is a pretty big deal. This is going to be a pretty big arrow. We got 4 on 4 plus additional 9, so it's 17. Am I counting that right? Or 14. Oh, sorry, we only have one pre-med. Right. Okay. Triggers. I guess we also... Oh, we maybe didn't even have to... It's interesting. We maybe didn't have to pull Tunic there if we didn't want to, but arsenaling the Golden Tipple is like a pretty decent deal, I feel like. Alright, this is fine. So we steal gold, pre-med. I guess it depends on what the random card is we draw, because we do have a lot of like pretty bad cards to draw. Alright, take a yellow, we'll take their Sawbones, which is a little unfortunate, but probably what we gotta do. Could also not take it, but then the Golden Tipple, so I think we just have to take it there. They have plenty of allies to like play out of bin, so I think that's fine. I think the real test is whether or not we're going to be able to like weather this next hand. And we gain the arsenal of the Golden Tip or the Tipple. I feel like Gold the Tip is a better arsenal because we care about it less if they want to go for a Conqueror. Alright, pop the gold. So it seems like they're on more of like the Rainbow Tipple version, although I feel like I've seen a lot less Swell. Our Gravy's still running Blue Swell. I've not kept up with the Gravy developments. Alright, so fortunate we arsenal the Gold the Tip here, because now that means we can afford to let it go if we want to. We could also just block a bit here. If we block with the Sunken Treasure, we can turn over what? We turn over the Chapman, that's a pretty big deal. So I feel like we're supposed to block here. Block 8 like this, lose the Sea Lace, get 3 oak plus a Gold the Tip, and then we have to YOLO for an arrow. Is that the best we can do? I mean, we have pretty good odds, right? We have 3 gold. We also have Marlin ability if we want to go for that. So I feel like this is the correct block, and then we just get rid of Chum, which is, I think, a pretty big deal. I feel like the alternative is we get hit by this, but then that feels pretty bad. Yeah, I think we punted mildly this game, but that's okay. Alright, ending on a Golden Tipple for 1. I think that will have to be fine. Kind of surprised they didn't just throw the gold baited hook on that. Oh. Yeah, for what it's worth, I think that having Gravy be the best deck is like slightly better than having Aurora be the best deck. I don't know. I think I'm like not necessarily an Aurora fan though. I don't know. I feel like the deck was just too consistent, too good. You can kind of just like play out all out of your hands, and it doesn't really matter like what your opponent's doing. Redfin Harpoon on top is pretty big. So now we Gold the Tip, 3 oak, draw the Redfin, and this might actually be game. Oh yes, the irony is not lost on me that my name is Aurora, and then they printed a hero named Aurora. Yeah, I am the real Aurora. Yeah, I don't know. I almost was considering fucking changing my name once the Aurora deck came out, not gonna lie. I was not a fan of that hero. I mean, she was like fine. I'm probably just like exaggerating a little bit, but like, God, that hero's tilting sometimes. Okay, so we can't play the Drop the Anchor, but that's a fine arsenal for next turn. We Hammerhead. Yeah, we're in a good shape. So this is still pretty good. This might not kill, because they do have 1 armor plus 3 block. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird that I gravitated towards Zen instead of a hero that was named after me, but I feel like that goes to show how boring Aurora was to play and to play against, I feel like. I don't know. I do think for what it's worth that they should like reprint her and also like reinvestigate how redesign her a little bit so that she's a bit more compelling, I guess. I feel like the initial iteration that we saw of Aurora was not incredibly engaging. All right, we got there. We got there through at least like 2 to 3 punts that game, so that's on me. But yeah, pretty good. I feel like the drop the anchor was actually like kind of clutch that one turn where we just tapped down the sawbone so they couldn't swing with it. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Why change my name when she's the one who sucks? That's true. Okay, I do think okay. So to the Aurora fans who the fans of Aurora the hero, I do think that she was a fun hero to play. Like you did just have that like random high roll potential like you had with like Bonzen, right? Where you just get to like blow people up with like double CLV and then there's like nothing. Like that is fun, right? Like you as the player are having more fun than your opponent, which is like the balance of fun is heavily in your favor. I do think that it gets old after a while, kind of like the Bonzen thing. Like it was kind of like a situation where I kind of wish they would have like maybe revisited like channel or channel. Honestly, Channel Lightning Valley. Yeah, fun is a 0%. Yes, thank you for remembering what I was trying to say. If you there's I think a there's also a thumbnail I think I made about that where it's fun is a zero sum game and it's just like Prism just like guzzling a bunch of fun. Okay, anyways, we're gonna try to do one more game. Let's see if we can find another. Do you want to play KO? Classic constructed Q KO or competitive? Let's go competitive. Let's get a random one. Yeah, I think that like Marlin does have like a pretty big edge into Gravy. I feel like most Gravies don't practice in the Marlin anyways, because like who the fuck plays Marlin, right? Like she's kind of trash, but I don't know. She's a lot of fun. I have a soft spot for Marlin. Oh god, we got a warrior. All right, terrifying. All right, they're gonna put us on first or second. All right, I will go first. We get cross wrap, and King Kraken is better into Dori in general, although some Doris are running like CNCs. Rich is obviously. Let's have. Ooh, the tar pit traps are kind of interesting. I'll give him a thinking real quick. Definitely want the gold tips. Like, I think we just want to be like very aggro. And I'm thinking about this Imperial Seal command. Alright, are we Imperial Seal command gaming? Let us know, chat. I think we are. I think we're gonna Imperial Seal command gaming. Mostly for the meme, but I think we're gonna do it. Alright. Let's see what we got turn 1. So what do we want Arsenal here, if anything? Probably Bluefin. Bluefin's pretty decent at Dori. Alright, I think we're just gonna load here. Or just hammer. Excuse me. Dinner's not agreeing with me. Okay. Hammerhead coming in. Yep. I think we're just double pitching here and just arsenaling Bluefin. Bluefin's a fine arsenal. Okay, we have the Imperial Seal command early. Very interesting. Alright, coming in with the Dauntless. Defense reaction cards. Cost 1 more. Sure. Coming in for 9. That's a lot of damage. Okay. So is the Imperial Seal of Command getting pitched here? What is the Imperial Seal of Command doing in this hand? I think it's just getting pitched here, right? Oh no, has Tegan started a war about verdants? Alright, I think we're taking 9 here almost assuredly.
I said, I don't know why you're. Burns is like saying, I don't know why you're hungry. There's a hot dog on the floor outside.
Oh my god, you're such a hater. Tegan's about to start a fight in my my chat.
I will win this fight.
Alright, we've successfully taken 9. Oh, are they just gonna send in again? Interesting. Okay, we have a very funny play available to us. We block with the Conqueror, we can bluefin, go again with the pre-med, off Sea Lace, and then we can just play Imperial Seal Command. I feel like we have to do it, right? I feel like that's gotta be the play. They can't pump this, they don't have any cards, right? So just give up Gold Bait Hook. I think we're decently positioned here. So we're mainly just going to be using the bluefin for on-hit ponder, but that's kind of fine. We also, I guess, get a little bit of hand information. So, assuming that this is Dawnblade Dori, this Imperial Seal command is actually like terrible. That has not escaped me, but it's still funny here at least. All right, please let the bluefin harpoon hit. Really would like an arsenal. This Imperial Seal command might do nothing. We have to be kind of prepared for this to do nothing, assuming that we play this card. Oh shit, we're not even royal. What am I doing? Okay, defense reactions can't. I guess we just don't get the CNC effect. But we probably should not be playing this if we're not running Dominion. Maybe we can still win the game anyways. Entirely possible. You can tell how much I've actually like boarded an Imperial Seal command and it's actually done something. I don't even know how to like play this card. All right, triple Warrior's Valor is interesting. All right, Imperial Seal command, go. Do something. I believe in you, buddy. I did. Okay, I will disagree with Tegan here. I think that she does kind of feel like Icelander, but kind of like a boring Icelander. A little bit. Alright, coming with the Dawnblade. We've got no go again on this. This matchup seems pretty bad, but I feel like there are other warriors that are maybe a little bit more scary. We're just going to let this hit because they don't have natural onboard Gogan. If they want to pop their bolters, that's maybe fine. If they're just going to send Dawnblade for 3, I think we're in pretty good shape. But yeah, this matchup doesn't seem great. I'm gonna level with you here, chat. All right, what are we doing? So we're probably just big game trophy shotting, 3 oak, codex. This could get kind of nasty depending on what we draw. I feel like we're supposed to just big game trophy shot though. So let's start with the big game trophy shot. Probably just gonna discard a random card off the top, which is Sunken Treasure, which is fine. Now we get to. I guess we probably should Skullbone first. Yeah, slight misplay there, but that's fine. I guess we get to Skullbone now, and we still get a little bit of value. Is Gold the Tip a good draw? Gold the Tip is kind of a fine draw because it just means we get to pitch, right? I think Gold the Tip is actually okay. So now we draw off we draw the Gold the Tip, which kind of works perfectly in terms of paying for Harpoon. Yeah, this is a little bit of a suspect play. But we are running Imperial Seal Command for what it's worth, so we're bound to make suspect plays at some point, right? So now we want to discard the Gold the Tip Arsenal, the big game trophy shot. I think this works. Could also get a Conqueror, but the Conqueror is probably not better than an arrow. And then we don't want a gold-baited hook because we're already threatening a gold on it anyways, and then we'll just send it with the bluefin for a bunch of damage. Yeah, 12 damage is not bad. Alright, see what they got. So they got Taken on the Chin, that's fine. They are still threatening the gold on here, which is pretty relevant. Let's see if they have a blue in hand. They do have blue in hand, so we get to grab that. And then what was left in hand? They had a steel blade. Hold on. They had a steel blade. I might have passed by it too quickly. Sorry. All right, so we hit here. All right, take the ripple. Okay, I guess it doesn't show you on television. That's fine. So now we get to ponder. Get another gold to tip. Sure. I think we'd rather just arsenal the big game trophy shot. So it was a steel blade supremacy and something else, right? Oh, this hand's fucking disgusting. Love it. Or no, it was what is that other? All right, we're gonna find out what they had in hand, but I should paid a little bit more attention. Sorry, my brain is like giving out on me after work. All right, so they have Blade Flurry. So that was the other card. It was like that yellow reprise card, right? The Steel Blade, the one that like tutors for something, right? It's still going to be a nasty hand next turn, assuming that we don't just like brick horribly. Alright, so Dawn Blade, yeah. Alright, we're almost assuredly just going to be giving them a counter here. Yeah, Singing Steel Blade, that was the card I was thinking about, so I just didn't see the Blade Flurry, that's my bad. Okay, so we're letting them have a counter, that's fine. We're just going to try to mess them up here. Glisten, yeah, there's too many Steel Blade cards. They all sound very, very similar to me. As someone who like has played Dori like once on Talachar for like an up tier prize video or whatever. All right, let's start with the cross trap. See what there is to see. We're probably just looking for blues or good harpoons. That's a good harpoon. Okay, I think we're supposed to top that. Now we crack Marlin. Big game trophy shot. We also have Tunic here. So I feel like this hand just needs to draw 2 blues. That's so likely, right? And even if we don't draw 2 blues, we're still sending a fuck huge arrow. So now we pre-med. So this is going to be an arrow for 20, assuming that we just draw well. Alright, this is at least going to be a Kraken for 20, right? Assuming that we draw somewhat reasonably here. Tunic. And 3 oak. Alright. I'm going to need a little bit of a spirit bomb here. 3 oak, do not fuck us here. Please, just at least 2 blues. Okay, perfect. Alright. The 3 oak has been a little unkind to me lately. Alright, and now are we popping the Imperial Seal command? That is the question. I feel like we probably don't need to, and we're just supposed to like Arsenal Seafloor salvage for next turn. Let's just oh sorry, don't forget to hook. I guess should we hook here? Did we make a gold? Alright, are they able to actually block 20? If they block with like 3. Alright, I'm just gonna give whatever. We're gonna give the whole kitchen sink here. We're gonna pop Imperial Seal too. Why not? We might as well pop it on the gold baited hook as well. Like they might not even be running any attack react or D-reacts in this deck, but it is a pretty big arrow. I think we just want this to hit no matter what. So if we can force through a big game trophy shot hit, plus a pre-med hit, plus the King Kraken hit, plus the gold baited hook hit, I think that's a pretty big game. Yeah, it's a girthy arrow. I think that's like why you need some extra buffs in the sideboard, specifically for the warrior matchup. It's just so like I think we're playing drop the anchor in this configuration, right? I think we are. I think the reason you run drop the anchor in the warrior is just so you get a little bit of extra buff, even though it's like basically a non-relevant on hit. The tasteful thickness of it. Yes, I love that. Tegan chuckled at that one too. All right. Okay, so they didn't have any D-Reacts in hand, so the unfortunately the Imperial Seal command was take an action point, do nothing. But the benefit of Imperial Seal command is that it gives you peace of mind, which I think is underlooked. We don't have any non-attacks in here, so we can't take anything. So they have 20 Blade, Glint the Quicksilver, Provoke. All right, so the hand basically kind of does nothing-ish. So I think it's fine. We're just gonna like not block, and as they force us to block with Provoke, that's sure, whatever. All right. Yeah, the Imperial Seal command did not do anything, but peace of mind I think is important. I bet peace of mind would be better than yes. That is correct. That is a card that exists that I forgot about until now. So we don't. What do we want to actually arsenal here? I guess it's just 3 oak, right? Kind of has to be. I guess we can also arsenal. I mean, it's basically the same, right? They don't have any disruption. So the provoke here is actually like a little scary. So they provoke Twinning Blade and then Glint, so we're never blocking anything. Yep, so just let them hit here. Yeah, Tarpit Trap is kind of a house. Not particularly good against like their current hand, but I think it's just a very powerful card, especially into like the assassin meta that we're currently kind of in. Okay, so that's actually maybe another thing we should talk about is like Slippy. I feel like Slippy is definitely a good deck, but I feel like he's very, very targetable. Like he's targetable in a way that I feel like other meta warping decks in the format that currently exist that we might have talked about earlier are not. Yeah, so I think we're just taking this. They provoke, we give them a blue. That's fine. Give them a bolt and shot. I don't think it matters. They do get to turn on their Glint, which is actually pretty huge. So now they can like Twinning Blade, swing again. That's actually pretty solid. So you can attack initial time. Does that put another counter on it though? No, because it's only the second time that it hits. So if it's the third time, then it doesn't put a counter. So if that's the case, do we now Tarpit Trap this? Maybe we're supposed to now Tarpit Trap. Because they have one unknown card in hand. Like, worst case scenario, it's like Iron Song. Yeah, Slippy and Gravy seem like reasonable top decks. I'm kind of surprised by how much Slippy there is, but I feel like Slippy rising to prominence is more so because Gravy is just like preying on a bunch of slower decks that Slippy gets kind of wrecked by. At least that's kind of why I think we've seen kind of like an uptick in Slippy. Oh, one thing about the Twinning Blade. I guess they get to hit with this, but they don't get to get an additional counter because... Oh no, it's Tarpit Trap is attack actions, right? Next time an attack action card hits this turn, effects don't trigger. Okay, so we shouldn't... We actually took like 2 extra damage there because we shouldn't have even gone for the Tarpit Trap. It doesn't matter in this matchup. So we should have actually just Tarpit Trap on this, give them the extra counter. Okay. That's on me. Like Slippy's definitely like a good deck, and I think that it makes a lot of sense why a ton of people brought him. But I think him being like as good as he is not because he's like just that strong naturally. It feels like it's more so because Gravy's kind of just like shutting out a lot of decks. That's at least what it feels like to me. Then again, I could be wrong on that. What do we want to arsenal here? We have Sea Lace up, so maybe just arsenaling like a 0 cost is better. Yeah, probably is just better. Yeah, Florian. So Florian actually did surprisingly well at the Pro Tour, which is kind of funny. I was initially giving our friend Jude a bit of shit about that, mainly because like I think that I originally thought that Florian just gets like dumpstered by Gravy, which I think is largely true. But I think that some Florians have figured out that there is like a sideboard that you can make for him that makes that matchup like a little bit more tolerable. That's at least what I've heard about that matchup. All right, we get a hit and run here. They get a CNC. It's actually not that bad if they just go for CNC next turn. I'm kind of fine with getting CNC'd. Because now we just get to like send another huge arrow at them. Yeah, Jude registered Florian, which is kind of, like Jude actually did quite well with Florian. I think he was top 32 of the Pro Tour or something.
17th, I think.
Or yeah, he was 17th at the Pro Tour, which is kind of sick. So we know they have CNC, and then they have a yellow Warriors Valor in hand. Is that the other card I saw? Or no, it was yellow Attack React, right? Sorry, I need to like not chat and also game at the same time. I feel like we're still just taking this though. I don't think it was something that gives go again, right? I think it's just 5. But yeah, Jude actually did quite well with Florian. And he was telling me that that matchup's like not actually as bad as people have made it out to be, which I kind of believe. So let's start with the... Oh, seems like they maybe went into Arsenal or something. Okay. Let's start with the sea lice here, just so we get Drill Shot go again. I think we're going to just send in with another big King Kraken this turn. Chat is totally fun, but I also like do not have the mental bandwidth to like read chat and also play a very taxing deck at the same time. Like I think Jarl's like a better stream deck. Marlin, like there's so many decision points that you have to like think about, and like I feel like it's super easy to punt with the deck. I don't know how like Yuto streams with like Acilio. That deck seems very easy to punt with on camera.
Well, that deck's not hard to play.
Oh, Tegan dissing Yuto. Alright, we're definitely gonna pop Eye here. We have a pretty fat stack. Okay, double tar pit. Those are both getting bottomed. Draw Murderous Rabble. Jacob seems to agree with you. Alright,
I could go off on Cilio.
Oh, yeah, every fab deck, I guess, is kind of easy in its own way. So are we Murderous Rabbling here, or are we just trying to go for... I feel like we should try to dig for a buff or something. How many... We have a Codex left. I feel like there's some decent amount of juice we can still pull. I think we're supposed to. We can sack one more. We could also Portside Exchange. Portside's actually kind of reasonable. Just filter for another card. Discard a Goldfin. Alright, Golden Tip is fantastic. Now what do? We just try Arsenal like Searing Shot for next turn and fish off one more gold. Alright, my mental bandwidth is like slowly evaporating. Alright. It's kind of worked out though. Whether or not we were lucky remains to be seen, but we do get the free hook activation, which is quite nice. We are swinging in for 13. Oh, you should not engage with Tegan in a meaningful debate. I think that's a lost cause.
I'm not baiting anyone.
No, I said debate.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't try to debate Tegan. Like,
yeah, people think I'm just like baiting, and it's like, nah. These are my opinions.
Yeah, Tegan has terrible opinions. And
no, I don't.
Tegan has terrible opinions, and will tell you about them, and will not hear reason. So, I would not advise arguing.
I'm right.
You are right. I will give you that. Alright, we get an Unsheathed though, then, which is nice. Alright, seems like they're just giving us the fridge. This could be good for us. They pitch the CNC, they have a yellow Warriors Valor. Is that the card that I remember? Alright, we get a Gold Baited Hook, we get the King Kraken, we take a hit and run. Fantastic. Alright, so I think we actually somehow managed to squeak this game out, despite me being, like, terribly distracted. I might be speaking too soon, though. So, all right, let's try to see if we can clutch up and win this game. So, Dawnblade for 5. There's a card that we should theoretically know about in Arsenal. Does anyone in chat remember what the card is? I'm going to take some outside assistance if anyone remembers. We're definitely blocking with a Sea Lace. We can probably afford to block with a Cross Wrap. And then the question is, we can either go Tunic. So they have a Fatal Engagement in hand. So what is the max they can swing this in for? It's like 4 off of a Singing Steelblade, which I think it's a pummel? Okay, yeah, I believe you. Oh, thank you for the S tier thumbnail. I appreciate that. It's Razor Reflex for sure. Codex? Yeah, these are all good answers. Okay, this is actually exactly what I wanted from like a stream chat, is that I wanted you to have an antagonistic relationship with me. I want us to be at odds as opposed to being friends. I think that's much more. Oh, actually, sorry, we can't even block with the Sea Lice, can we? We have to block with like Tunic, because we need to get this out of Arsenal, right? So I think we're supposed to do this, and then they can't kill us, right? Because they have a Fatal Engagement in hand, and then oh, it's overpowered. Oh shit, we almost died. I knew it was some random yellow card. I couldn't remember what it was though. All right, we blocked perfectly because I'm a genius. All right, perfect blocks. Never punished. I completely fucking forgot about that. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Okay, Searing Shot. So I guess we take game. What is the play here? Take game, Searing Shot. I guess we can like fish off Riches too. Let's start by fishing off Riches and see what we hit. Seafloor is good. It's a good start. Fish a little bit more. Yellowfin is good. Absolutely never punished. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's so hard to keep track on Talishar too. Where you don't have like an opponent that can just like, you can ask like, hey, what's the card in your hand? Okay. What are we doing now? What's the play? Do we have a King? Oh, we do have a King Kraken. So we can actually. Oh wait, no. This is sick, right? We take game. Or no, sorry, we don't take game first. We Searing Shot first. I think this works, right? We 0 cost. Sorry, what is the play? We 4 take game, Codex, get it back at 0 cost, and then is that the play? I don't know what the play is here. Let's start with Searing Shot, I guess. I don't know. I'm not gonna think about it. I think it's still 11 either way. Yeah, these plays are frying my head too. I think I'm quickly approaching my stream limit after a long day of work. Close chain, take game, Codex, grab, Searing Shot. They don't get a card back, or they do get a card back. Wait, what do they get back? Did they have like a random CNC that I forgot about? I thought I didn't see a CNC. I thought they like pitched it. Oh, it was Ripple Away. That's what it was. They get back a Ripple Away? Okay. So now we send in with this. They can potentially block 5 on this, but then they just have a Ripple Away in Arsenal. All right, we're punting our way to victory here. That's fine. Ripple, unfortunately, punishing them really hard there. All right, we get to now Conqueror and then just end on 7. Fantastic. All right, we somehow punted our way to a victory, which I feel like we did last game as well, which is hilarious. Undefeated. Wait, did I lose a Marlin game on stream?
I don't think you did.
I don't think I did. So now you all get to see what it looks like behind the scenes when I play games. It's super easy to just record a bunch of games and I never lose anything. Oh. Yeah. Just barely got there. Holy crap. All right. That's got to be the end of the stream. I think I'm like slowly approaching the limit of what my brain is capable of handling with this hero. Oh, boy. Those are some pretty good games, though. I feel like I actually kind of showcased at least the strength of this build. I do think we identified a weakness in the Gravy matchup in that maybe we want more 1-for-3s. Like maybe next time I think we like do a Marlin video or like a Marlin stream, I think we might try like maybe like a blue infecting over like the Searing Shot or something. Yeah, I think that's gotta be the end of the stream. I think I'm like approaching the mental limit I have for playing a deck that has like 30 decisions per turn. I think I'll also give Kalashar a break because if we look, okay, that wasn't too much more time wasted. Yeah, thank you all for joining. I feel like that was a pretty fun stream. I feel like I don't know, streaming's been quite a bit of fun. I think so. I don't know if y'all are like aware of like why we're trying to do streams in the first place. I think might have mentioned in the last stream, but basically like I'm trying to save Tegan some editing work, mainly so that we can work on the Zen documentary, which we're probably going to have very shortly soon. We're still getting some people to like review some things, but it's going along very well. We're basically going to be releasing like 3 parts and stuff like that, which is I think a little bit of a deviation from what we were kind of like originally intending, but I think it's going to be a little bit better in the long run in terms of like you all getting to see like what we've been working on and us being able to like put something out that like people can watch. How long is the documentary is a fantastic question. So
The first part's about an hour.
So the first part that we have is about an hour. I think it's like 50 or something minutes that we have so far, but that might get longer or shorter depending on how we edit some of it down. It's going to be 3 parts, so if we extrapolate that, it's going to be roughly, is that what, like 2.5 hours?
2 hours and change, probably.
Yeah, so 2 hours and change for the full length of the documentary, and we are releasing the longest section first. So I think this section has taken us like at least a couple months to basically to put together, which is kind of insane. It's probably going to be one of the longest scripted pieces of fab content ever. It's about to be peak content. Like all right, I'm gonna give you all a spoiler. There is a revelation in this video about. So this is a history on the this is a history on Zen, right? There is a revelation in this video that you are going to be very surprised about what card was breaking Zen. I'm not going to spoil it, but there was a very specific card that was breaking Zen in development, and that's all I'm going to say. All right, well, yeah, I'm going to probably wrap up the stream here. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, be on the lookout for Zen documentary because it's coming out very soon, or at least the first part is. And yeah, I appreciate all y'all who are from different time zones. 5 a.m. Someone watching me at 5 a.m. Seems it's not Flex Clause, I will tell you that. But yeah, 3 parts is a lot too. Yeah, Flex Clause was actually like kind of solid. I think that card was better than I probably gave it a lot of credit for. Yeah, but I appreciate y'all for joining. So thank y'all for watching, and I'm gonna go take a break because talking for 2 hours is a lot of work. All right, I'll see y'all in the next stream. Oh, next stream. Okay, yeah, sorry. Before I go, next stream is Friday. Very, very special stream. There will also be a giveaway for a calling entry, which is pretty cool for the Kansas City calling. So if you're interested in that, feel free to go check out that video. And there's going to also be a very special guest on that video as well, which we're going to be announcing shortly. Not gore belching either, but that would be sick if that card was breaking Zen. All right, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.